Hey everyone. This is much later than I usually like to do this video, but it's been a day. It's been a weird, long, busy day, and I'm just now getting to this at 9:30 at night. So I'm doing this just to do it. I'm fully expecting like zero live participation, but that's okay. We'll see what happens. I did not promote this on my Instagram or anything like that. But that being said, this oh hey, there's two people in here. You guys startled me. That being said, this is going to be the biggest one of these I think I've ever done. Um, there's a lot. There's a lot to go over. Uh, for starters, my normal stack is enormous this week. Uh, that's just to begin with. I also have uh, several trades. I have 5 trades and a hardcover, I guess. So 4 trades and a hardcover that I picked up today. And I also have 2 packages to open and unbox for you. For me mostly, honestly, but I figured if I'm doing it, I might as well do it here. And I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start opening this. And let's not knock things over. Okay. I'm pretty much gonna start with the box because move the microphone away because these boxes are very large and I just don't want to look at them anymore. I want to cut them up into little bits and burn them in a big bonfire somewhere away from my apartment complex. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I'm called the fire guy, but I don't light fires. That reminds me, I have a story to tell you guys as well. I hope you can hear me, even though I moved the microphone away. Tessa, you should never trust me with a knife. There's ample documentation of me screwing up unboxing stuff with a knife, but duty calls. Anyway, I have a story. So, this will give me something to talk. This will give me something to talk about while I'm cutting open this box and hopefully not cutting open my stomach. Here you go. There we go. So I left work today and decided pizza sounds good. I want to get a pizza. And I placed my order. Let me back up. I Googled the pizza place to make sure they were still open because my first place closed way earlier than I thought they would. So I had to look up a different place, make sure they were still open. And while I was looking up the hours, I saw on Google that you can just order pickup like right there through Google and not have to like call them or do, DoorDash or something like that. So I just placed my order for a Hawaiian pizza right through Google. And I show up to the pizza place and I walk inside, and the very nice lady behind the counter, I told her I'm here for a pickup. I ordered the Hawaiian, and she goes around the corner to look for it, and she comes back around and she says, "Are you Fire Guy?" And it was extremely embarrassing. And for the briefest of moments, I was like, "Oh no, it's happening, you guys! I'm famous. I'm getting recognized by the local pizza place." But apparently, because my name on Google is now Fire Guy Ryan, my pizza order was placed under the name Fire Guy Ryan, and she wrote it on the box. I don't know. I'm going to keep this box and frame it and sell it to someone someday when I'm actually famous. But no, that's my story. It's a very embarrassing pizza pickup scenario where I had to admit, thankfully, there was no one else in there. It was just me and the employee. Slightly embarrassing. I did save the box, Tessa. I wanted to show you guys. There we go. What is this? Omnibus Volume 3. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. The Jeff Johns run of Green Lantern. I had Volume 2. Oh, there it is. Not that far. I unboxed Volume 2 a month ago, something like that. They did not have Volume 1 in stock when I placed that first order. So I pre-ordered it on like a restock, whatever the word is. I'm not speaking right because my brain is scrambled eggs right now. Basically, I ordered number 1 and number 3 to go with my number 2 that's been up there forever. So now I have the full set of Geoff Johns Green Lantern Omnibus for my shelf, which is now heavy enough or heavy duty enough to support such chunky books. I'm gonna hurt myself with this knife. Not on purpose. Although some days I wonder. Okay. Easy. So yeah, I already spoiled what's in here, but this is a bunch of stuff for my cats to play with. They certainly pack very well. These look quite nice. This is from cheapgraphicnovels.com. If they are watching and want to hook me up with a sponsor, I'd be more than happy to. All right, first order of business, I'm going to put the knife away. Don't leave your knives out. Or whatever. I can't talk. Everyone knows this. Hello, Greg. Right into the microphone. I'm sure that's great sound for you guys. A receipt. Don't plan on returning this, but good cover. Good cover. This would be volume 1. So I now have 1, 2, and 3 right here on my foot, like a big doorstop. Damn, those are heavy. Okay, those are the 2 unboxings I had to do. Yoo-hoo! Surprise! We did it. Now I can start with my haul. Tessa, I would like you to know that YouTube flagged your comment, so I'm going to show it. I wonder, maybe the word stabbed triggered the YouTube algorithm to not show it, but there you go. I'll let everyone see your shame. There you go. You could learn a lot from me, but okay. I'm just gonna start with this one, also because it's big, and also because there's no hiding it. There's no surprise here. This is Suicide Squad Blaze number 2. My dumb self forgot to order this one, but thankfully our shop had a bunch of extras, so I did not miss out. I'm gonna go ahead and say too, I have not read nearly as many of my weekly books as much as I usually do, because there was a lot. There's a lot of books here, and I just didn't get to them all. But that's okay, because this show sometimes turns into like a giant review show, and I don't necessarily mean that to happen. It comes out. I ramble. Ooh, I put this one on top because I just wanted to show it off again, because I'm very, very happy that this came in. This is the Onion Club. Something is Killing the Children 21 gold foil variant that I got from the James Tynion Substack. I unboxed this on the Comic Tom live show yesterday. I'm very happy with this. It's not coming off very well on camera, but it's gold foil, black virgin cover. I don't want to touch it because it's super, super valuable, and it just looks really, really cool. Yeah, it's cool. James Tynion's Substack, you guys. Just going to put that out there and set this somewhere safe. Up here. Stay. Okay. Surprised you guys has had a bunch of magazine-sized book. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think it's going into our one of the boxes that we do at Mill Geek. The Can't Miss box. That's the name of it. I swear to goodness, my brain is just... Okay. Normally, I shuffle these, but I did not remember to do that today. I have read maybe half of this stack. Maybe. But I'm going to put it face down on the table and go through them one by one like I always do, and give you my thoughts on the things in here that I have read. And probably a bunch of other thoughts too. I might have to do this in 2 piles. This is going to slip and slide all over the place. Don't look. Okay, that's one. And there's two. I need to have like a comic bonfire or something to get rid of all of I have too many books. I have too many. First one up. Hit Me number 2. Here you go, Greg. This is for you. Your shop did not have Hit Me 2. That's unfortunate because you and I were talking about this last night, actually. I quite enjoyed Hit Me number 2. The first one I liked, but it was wasn't what I wanted. And I got what I wanted with this issue. The first one was a lot of setup, introducing you to the characters and the world and typical first issue problems, although I don't really think that's a problem. That's just the nature of storytelling. And then you get to the second issue and things start to heat up in a pretty serious way, actually, especially for part 2 of 5. Like I wouldn't expect the kind of twist that happens in this book to happen so early on. So I'm interested to see where it goes from here. But basically, it's about a sex worker who, going to meet one of her clients, finds out that there is somebody else in the room, and guns get drawn, and a bunch of people get shot, except for her. And I'm spoiling the first issue, by the way, so sorry. She finds out that one of them had a bag of diamonds on them, and they're like $1 million or so worth of diamonds. So she decides to foolishly grab the diamonds and scram. And it seems like the trajectory of this book is going to be her trying to stay one step ahead of the various gangsters who are trying to get their gems back. So it's a cool book. I wasn't 100% sure based off issue 1, but I can say 2 issues in, I'm into it. But it's AWA, so I'm always into that. They're my jam. Greg says, I will find it, but I did get the Trade of Telepaths. Not my favorite series from them. That one was a little bit of a disappointment, actually. That story went in a completely different direction than I was hoping it would go. I did pre-order the trade of Crimson Cage today, however. I did my pre-orders for the previews guide, and the Crimson Cage trade paperback was in there, so I locked that down. That will be on one of these videos in a couple months. Screw it. Here's one of my first trade. It's Time Before Time, Volume 2. Number 1 is being borrowed by a friend of mine, which is why I like getting this stuff in trades, because I don't want to loan somebody issues that might be valuable at some point in the future, or they're just easily damaged. So if it's a book I really like, I will double dip and get the trade. Time Before Time is one of those books. It's really fun. I really love the art in here. You guys have heard me talk about this a lot, but the art in here is really cool. I don't even know if you can see it very well from this very half-assed showing off that I'm doing here, but it's fun. Oh my goodness, look at those letters. I love the lettering sound effects in this series. The art in general is just really fun. I did not mean to go into like a little mini review of Time Before Time. I'm sure I will be doing that the next time I get one of the single issues of this book, although I don't think it's going to be for a while. I'm pretty sure it is on a hiatus right now. Second issue on my stack, Batman Catwoman. All right, that's an easy one. I'm not reading that yet, although I might as well start because this is issue 11 and it's a 12-issue series. So by the time I finally get around to actually sitting down and reading the whole thing, it might be just in time for the final issue. I have read the first 2 or 3, but this book comes out so sporadically that I decided to wait and let it get ahead of me, and now it is pretty far ahead of me. I also made the foolish decision to lock myself into the Jim Lee variants for this run. There are like 3 different cover options available for Batman Catwoman, and I kind of wish I did not go with Jim Lee. The other options I like a little bit more, although I can't complain. Jim Lee is a certain kind of iconic on Batman that, it's fine. I'm okay. Beater Comic Bro. It started so strong, and I forgot to pick up the last 3 issues, so now I am sad. Ryan made me sad. That's what I do. I do it best. Stephen Valdez. Hey, Ryan and Comic Fam. I thought that said Comic Farn, but that doesn't make any sense. Oh, it's 9:30 and I'm like delirious already. John Stout says, I liked Time Before Time, but it was too drawn out. Uh I really like it. I think it makes a good binge. If you can snag the trade and read a bunch of it at once, that might work better. But something about it just clicks for me. I really like the art in there. Um, pretty much the exact same creative team actually wrote this book right before A Time Before Time started. It's called Write It in Blood from Image. It's basically like the movie Fargo. I don't remember it very well. I binge read this one time, and it's been a while, but this is it's like Time Before Time, except not sci-fi. Uh, very much kind of like indie crime drama slash almost comedy sort of. It's very cool. This is a really good book, and it was a gift from a friend of mine at Mill Geek Comics. So I'm very glad that Jeff, shout out Jeff, I'm very glad Jeff hooked me up with that. And he likes to give me he gives me a lot of his old stuff that he's trying to get rid of, and in some cases that works out really well, and it ends up on my shelf. And in other cases, I end up with a big tower of what I call Jeff books on the corner of my table that I'm looking at right now that I just have not gotten around to yet. But anyway, next book on the list, Wonder Woman. All right, another one I have not read yet. This is Wonder Woman. Where are you? Nope, you're up here. Wonder Woman 786. That's backwards on my screen. I think that's 86. That is 86. This is a Trial of the Amazons tie-in, which I am not reading. I am a couple issues behind on Wonder Woman. I am catching up. I do like this cover. It's a variant cover by Paulina Ganucheau. So yeah, she's done. I assume that's a she, Paulina. She's done a bunch of these Wonder Woman B covers lately. This one, I don't know which one's my favorite, but I like that one a lot. And I hope to finally get caught up on Wonder Woman here pretty soon. I am like 2 or 3 issues behind, so it wouldn't be that hard to actually do. Best book Jeff has made you discover. You actually read this book recently too, Tessa. That big hardcover that was like more words than images, and it was about the people in that like shelter underground who leave. I don't remember what it was called, but he Labyrinth. Thank you. Yeah, he let me borrow that one. That was some books he gives to me, but some he lets me read, and I have to give them back. I gave that one back to him, but that one probably stuck with me the most. The fact that I remembered what it was about is as good as it gets for me. I'm not going to remember names because the fact that I remember anything at all is as good as it gets. He reads a lot of books I get. Yeah, Jeff and I have. It's actually really funny because I do all the orders for our shop, and I'll go through and verify to make sure we're ordering all the stuff that people have requested. And a lot of books, there's just a number 2 next to it, and I know that means 2 people order it, and a lot of times it's me and Jeff. We have very similar tastes, so I like having somebody like that who I know I can we're on the same wavelength, so I can pretty much trust the things he lets me read, which is it's good. It's good to have somebody like that in your corner. North Bend season 2 number 4 from Scout Comics. I have not read this yet either. I loved the first run of North Bend, and I need to reread that before I jump back into season 2. But this is a cool like MK Ultra, CIA, drugs, government spy story. Yeah, I'll get around to that. Not yet though. This is Flashpoint Beyond number 0. I did read this, although I don't remember what happened in here. I'm gonna open it. I remember a very strange shot of like Batman in front of like a chalkboard or something that was a little weirdly on the nose about like DC storylines in like a meta way, talking about 5G and stuff. It feels a little silly. It's cool that we're getting a sequel to Flashpoint, which is part of the reason I picked up the Absolute. I only read Flashpoint once in digital, but I liked it enough. And in preparation for this upcoming sequel, I wanted to make sure I reread the original. Turns out I did like it. This sequel is, at least this 0 issue, is written by Jeff Johns with art by Eduardo Rizzo, who did 100 Bullets. Although I like the art better in here than in 100 Bullets, possibly because of the colors. Where is the credits? Doesn't say. Probably in the back. Whatever. It's a cool book. End of story. Flashpoint Batman is up to some cool stuff. Bruce Wayne's father from the Flashpoint universe, who basically, if you don't know, the gist of that is instead of Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed in Crime Alley by a random mugger, Bruce Wayne gets shot. The little boy gets shot, and his mom goes crazy and becomes the Joker, and his dad decides to fight crime as Batman. And that kind of sets off that whole story in a really interesting direction. But the character of Thomas Wayne as Batman has kind of crossed over into our universe a little bit, sort of like a Miles Morales kind of way. And it's been cool seeing his character development throughout various comics. And now it looks like he is going back into that universe to do something. I don't know. My memory is so completely worthless. I need to apparently go back and reread Flashpoint again, even though I just did like less than a month ago. Star Wars, Darth Vader. Number 22. 22. Have not read this. Our shop has also been missing a lot of Marvel comics the past couple of weeks, and they all came in this week, which actually, nope, they didn't all come in. 99% of them came in, which is why this stack is so big. I think this is older. I'm not sure if this was actually out this week or the past 2 weeks, but there are some books in this stack that are not this week, but they're new to me, and I wanted to show them off. I've not read Darth Vader yet either, but I like how they've got Ochi, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's like Darth Vader's like little, I don't want to say apprentice because that's giving him too much credit. He's basically like his slave or servant or something. He's a cool side character in this new Darth Vader run, and I'm glad he's on the cover. He looks kind of like Batman, at least in silhouette. I love the Star Wars they have going on now. I agree with the caveat that I am only reading Darth Vader because with my brain, I either have to read none of it or all of it, or I can apparently limit myself to just one here, which is what I chose to do. I did read the first trade of the current Star Wars run, and that was pretty cool. So I do like overall, I do really like what Marvel has done with Star Wars since they got the license back in 2015. No, not the license back, since the whole Disney takeover thing happened. The Star Wars books have been good. Yeah, High Republic. Yeah, William. I tried reading one of them, but like I need it to be a little bit connected to what I know in Star Wars. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just reading a whole new thing. And I would rather it just be a whole new thing than be a Star Wars tie-in or something. I'll get around to High Republic eventually. It didn't grab me. I actively skipped High Republic. I will be getting the Obi-Wan series that's coming out pretty soon to tie in with the show, I would imagine. I'm looking forward to that. This book, Venom number 7. It's hard to read backwards, but that is Venom number 7. I'm kind of surprised at how much I'm liking Venom right now, especially after binge reading all of Donny Cates' run in one day a couple of weeks ago. I learned that I don't really like the back half of Donny Cates' run on Venom, so I think only the first half of it or so is really, really good. But reading the end of it, the lead up to King in Black and everything that happened like immediately before was always, it just didn't sit right with me. It felt like filler, like they were rushing to get to the finish line. And I was ready for a new take on Venom, and this new run has taken a little bit to get going. This whole split storyline they've got going with Eddie Brock and his son Dylan, both being written by two different writers, Ram V and Al Ewing. It was a little weird. It was a little off-putting. It was hard to get into at first. It was a little confusing, but certain things are starting to get revealed and peeled back, and it somehow manages to accelerate the storytelling at the same time as kind of slow down and let us just go. Like right now, this story is about Dylan. He's hiding out with like a biker gang, and it's weird. It doesn't sound cool, but he's kind of on the run, I guess, and he's living / working in the back of this bar, which is a biker gang bar. And at night, as Venom, he's going out and like taking out other biker gangs. It's weird. It feels like Dylan might be getting mixed up with the wrong crowd. Feels like a duh statement in that situation, but that's part of what I meant about the story slowing down, and not it's not leaning so much into the crazy cosmic symbiote weirdness. It's more about like, I worry about this kid and I hope he's going to be safe, and he's getting mixed up with a bunch of bearded gnarly bikers, but he's got the symbiote, so he's probably going to be okay. All right, next trade I picked up Silver Coin Volume 1 because I am in love with Silver Coin, and you should be too. It's a really cool horror anthology book, and I think I sold my first set. I think I sold my first 5 issues of Silver Coin, which is very fortuitous that I picked up Volume 1. It's a really cool book. I don't need to get more into it than that, but Silver Coin did make my top 5 favorite comics of January. That was issue number 8. Since I'm on the topic, I want to apologize for being so late with my top 5 comics from March video. That will be coming out soonish. I recorded it 2-3 days ago, something like that, but I have not started editing it yet because I am just way too busy, and I need to edit that and get it out to you guys, because I really want to try and do the one video a month. It shouldn't be too hard to do one edited video, but I've got a lot on my plate at work and in other areas of life, so it's hard. Editing's hard. Like sitting down and finding the time to just dedicate several hours to putting that whole thing together. There's a lot of work that goes into it that I didn't really realize, and I think I don't know, it's kind of an underappreciated part of putting out content. John Stout says Silver Coin is a great anthology series. Almost all the stories have been good. Correct. There's one in here, I think it's number 4, that was written by Jeff Lemire. That was like a sci-fi tale where you see someone pick up the coin in the far future, like a couple hundred years in the future. That one did not really do it for me. But because it's an anthology series and they don't connect, I really only read most of these issues once. So I am looking forward to actually going back and discovering them all over again. Yeah, William Ferguson, to get back to Star Wars, I felt like the problem that Star Wars has had theatrically and comic books is where they're trying too hard to tie it into Luke and the original. Yeah, I feel that. That's one of the reasons I like this Darth Vader series, is there's a lot of callbacks to the prequels and not so much the original trilogy, acknowledging the whole breadth of the saga and not just the 3 original movies that everybody likes. But John Stout says that's the one I don't like, the future one with the Jeff Lemire Silver Coin. So I guess I'm not alone there, and I need to give it another try. It's probably not bad, but when you wait a month for something and you get the one standalone issue and it's not as good as what you've kind of been conditioned to expect, it can be a little bit of a bummer. Next up, I've got Rain number 4. I have heard really good things about this specific issue. I really liked the first issue. Again, the first issue of Rain made my top 5 comics from January. I did not love the second or third issue nearly as much as the first one. The whole premise of this girl's like quest to go find her girlfriend's father felt really kind of flimsy to me and not compelling of a reason to go on like a life-threatening kind of epic quest across state lines. I think she has to go to a different state on foot while needles are raining down from the sky instead of rain. That's just the overall premise of this book. Like all of a sudden, what looks like normal rain clouds, they let out sharp needles instead of raindrops, and anybody who is outside is naturally very graphically killed by many sharp punctures to their body. And it's a very scary premise, and the moment it happens in issue 1 is very startling and surprising, and I just liked that moment, the punch and the build up to that whole moment. But then the following issues where she decides to go visit her father-in-law, just like, I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe I just need to binge read the whole thing all at once. That's usually how it has to be done for me to fully appreciate stuff anyway. But I'm glad I took the chance on Rain. It's not something I would normally get. I actually did not order this. I did not pre-order Rain like I normally get my comics. I had to have this book recommended to me by No Good Comics. Very good friend of mine. He had to he recommended he was banging the drum for Rain very hard when this first issue came out, and I took the bait and I went and found an issue on the wall at a different local comic shop, and I liked it enough to strap in for all 5 issues. It was pretty good. I think I know what this one is based on the size. That is the Image Anthology, issue number 1. I think this is the main cover with Radiant Black on it, which is one of my favorite books out right now, Image or otherwise. So even if this wasn't cover A, this is the one I would have gone with. There's like 6 or 7 little short stories in here by a bunch of different creative teams. Some are good, some are not as good. Kind of the standard with a big anthology anniversary book like this. This is Image's 30th anniversary anthology is what it's called. But no, there's some cool creative teams. One of the stories in here is the origin story for a new villain in the Radiant Black storyline. So I did appreciate that part, how one of the stories in here, I assume, I don't know if it's more than one, but it's at least one of the stories in here actually connects to an ongoing Image comic and is not just a standalone short story thing that they're building just for this anthology. So I look forward to more of both. I like how we get both. It's kind of just a catch-all. There's a lot here, and you'll find something you like. And I was surprised at how much I liked some of the stories in here that I didn't think I would like. There was one by Mirka Andolfo that I enjoyed. I don't normally like her writing, but I liked the story that she wrote in here. Tessa can jog my memory because there was another one in here that was done by the Bolero creative team that I thought was really cool. It's just a cool little anthology book. I was also worried that based on the comic that Radiant Black is reading on here, he's reading like Young Blood or something, in some nasty 90s Image book. I was worried that the fact that it was a 30th Image anniversary celebration, I was worried that all of this stuff was going to be nasty, like early Image stuff, the stuff I just buys. So thankfully there's none of that in here, which is good. It's a big relief. You liked the first one by Johns. Yes, there was the introductory story in here was done by Jeff Johns and Andrea Muti, who was the illustrator of Maniac of New York. So it was very cool to see 2 creators that I quite like working together for the first time, I believe, to tell a pretty cool like monster horror story, if I'm not mistaken. Just a cool anthology. It's a cool little book. $5.99, so it's a little more expensive than your average comic, but it was fun. And Bunny Mask. Yeah, thank you, Tessa. Maniac of New York and Bunny Mask. Next book on this stack, I keep looking at them before I show them to you. That's cheating. This is Captain Carter number 2. I have not read this yet. If this was not a 5-issue miniseries, I would not be getting it. Captain Carter was not my favorite episode of What If. I thought it was way too similar to Captain America, the First Avenger. It just felt like I was watching the same movie again. I do think that they're taking more, not risks, but they're telling a more different story with her present day adventures, at least in the first issue of Captain Carter. I'm hoping it holds up. I'm hoping it continues to be good. But if this wasn't a short 5-issue series, I would not probably have jumped on if it was an ongoing. So that's one reason why I like miniseries, because they end. I say that like every week, I feel like. If it was a Marvel book, it would be $9.99. Yeah, you're right. And also, I don't read a lot of those Marvel anthologies. So this is one of my first times jumping into the kind of oversized, overpriced. Well, this one's very fairly priced, but jumbo priced short story collections like this. And I don't know if the Marvel ones are this good, but the level of quality in this Image book is very exciting. And the fact that some of these stories are going to continue on for all 12 issues has me on the hook for the whole run. So I'm excited. Water break on camera. That's good. 5 issues is too much for that one, says William Ferguson about Captain Carter. Yeah, we'll see. I have not read number 2 yet, but I didn't mind issue 1. I've certainly read worse. We'll see how it goes. Nope, don't look. Almost looked again. Black Panther number 5. 5? Yeah, this is 5. I have not read this one yet either. There were a couple of copies of this at our shop that was like extremely damaged. Like, I don't know what they printed this on, but the covers I saw were like crinkled to death, like the really crappy Marvel paper, but like very damaged. So I'm glad this one appears to be okay. I'm almost too scared to open it and read it because some of the Marvel books lately have been very fragile. It's a shame, especially when it's Alex Ross cover art, and I do really like this cover. I think the colors on here super pop. Marvel paper quality is driving me up a wall, especially after reading Holt Grand Design last week and 2 weeks ago. However old Holt Grand Design is, knowing that they can make it on better paper is like extra frustrating. It'd be one thing if it's like, guys, we're completely out. We have no papers. We are reusing old paper, like old toilet paper, like William says. We had to take what we could get. You know, we only had this one option. But they could do better. They're just choosing to be, yeah, exactly. Clearly, they know how to make a beautiful book. It's unfortunate, but it's just one more reason why I don't like reading single issues. My favorite way to read is nice and juicy hardcovers or digital and then trades and then single issues. That's my preferred reading method. Speaking of trades, I'm going to show off my next one. I grabbed Crossover Volume 1 because I really like Crossover. I like Volume 2 much more, but I can't just grab Volume 2. So I want to have both. I'm hoping eventually one of these will get a cool hardcover and I can maybe upgrade. We'll see. I also just saw in the new catalog, it's not new, it's almost actually done. I was procrastinating it this month, but there was a solicitation for Crossover 1 is getting re-released in 3D with cool glasses. So I snagged one of those. I'm excited to that. I'm excited to see that. I'm apparently susceptible to gimmicks. Who would have known? I don't have anywhere to put this. There you go. Crossover 1. I still have one more trade, one hardcover, and a gigantic pile of books to go through still. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Another good reason not to read Marvel, says John Stout. Okay, there's more of us out there than I realized. Like, especially working in a shop, I feel like kind of ashamed to admit that I don't really like Marvel that much. They're not my least favorite publisher at all, but they should be doing a lot better than they are. They are improving in my mind. Like I was saying, I am really surprised at how much I've been enjoying Venom. The Black Panther run has actually been pretty cool. At least the first 4 issues I've read. Ghost Rider blew my mind. Issue 1. Haven't read number 2 yet. That's somewhere in here. Spoilers. So they do some good stuff, but I think they need to make a better product. Throw shade, drop your least favorite publishers. Behemoth. Source Point Press. I shouldn't just be bad-mouthing publishers like that, but I haven't had good luck with either of those. DC Comics presents I Am Batman. I think this is number 8. Number 8. I'm really enjoying this book. I kind of feel like I'm standing alone on an island of enjoyment when it comes to this comic. A lot of people are have Batman fatigue and aren't willing to try a different one. They will say, "I'm sick of Batman. There's too much Batman." But then when you get something slightly different, they get mad and say, "I want my real Batman back." So there's no pleasing some people, especially Tessa. I will admit that with those two companies, I have not read a whole lot. The very few things I have read by them have not been good enough. And it's to the point where actually there were several times today where I was looking at the catalog and I thought like, oh, this book looks interesting. And then I saw Behemoth on there and I took a second glance. You know, it made me think twice like, oh, it looks interesting, but I've fallen prey to this before because you promised me Darkness looked interesting. It sounded cool. And it turned out to be literally the worst comic book I've ever read in my life. And so it's hard to wash that out of my mouth, wash the taste out of my mouth, even though I'm sure there are some good Behemoth books. I did enjoy Vietnam Horror. That was a cool book. It was fine. You know, it's all about ratio. Marvel has a few good books, but like 80% are bad. Marvel is growing on me. Marvel is just growing on me. I don't read a lot of it, but the stuff I am reading, I've curated my own pull list, and the stuff I am reading from Marvel, I am enjoying. The art was hard to follow for You Promised Me Darkness. So dark. Yes, it was literally black and white with no gray, but it was like photorealistic black and white, which made it very hard to tell what I was looking at because it was awful. It was like trying to read somebody's comic as they held it up to a car window that was just like tinted at like 90%, and I can't see what the hell I'm looking at. It was not a fun experience. Did not enjoy that book. Like, immensely did not enjoy that book. Like, it angered me in a way that few other comics ever have, and it's hard to get over that. So yeah, that's that. This next, oh god. I hate this comic so much. I'll show you. I've shown it off before, but this could not have come up at a more perfect time. This is my least favorite comic on my pull list, and I should cancel it. I should have canceled it so long ago, but I don't. It's like my disgust is at war with my completionist OCD tendencies, and I don't want to have an incomplete run of this because I know the second I drop it, the book will get canceled, and I won't have the full set of a book that I actively hate, which doesn't make any sense. Sorry, Shattered Glass. This is Future State Gotham issue number 12. I've been getting the B covers for this run, which also are just pretty bad. Honestly, though, the covers are this is as good as it gets with this book. Like, before, just don't open it. Variant cover by Mike Bowden and Alex Locus. It's a cool enough style on the cover, but like, it's not my favorite. It's the fact that you keep reading it. How long were you pulling Fantastic Four without reading it? Fantastic Four is in this stack, and I'm not reading it. I haven't read Fantastic Four in several years, but I liked what I read enough. I just stopped reading it, and then it got way ahead of me, and I can't like sit down and read 40 issues of a book like that without, I got so much other stuff to read, and I keep making excuses. I'll get around to it, but I like Fantastic Four. I have a weird soft spot for Fantastic Four. I don't know if this current run is any good or bad or what, but I enjoyed the first like 12 issues well enough, and now it's up through 40. It's just so not me. This comic has very rushed, just not pleasing art. There's like no detail anywhere in here. It doesn't make any sense. It has like nothing to do with the Future State event from last year. It's just bad. Thankfully there's like a backup story in here, which some of those are good. Oh god. Next issue, Batman at War, Part 1. So there's Part 1 of a whole new story arc is about to start. But thankfully, like I was saying, at the end, there is always like a there's a backup story by a different creative team every time, doing like a one-shot story. And I don't know who's writing this, but I can tell just by looking, this art is done by Jamal Campbell, who I really, really love, who's been doing the Nightwing B covers, who did the art for Far Sector and Naomi. So that's kind of cool. Not cool enough to justify buying this book forever and ever. Story and art by Jamal Campbell. Okay, and there's a nice little Nightwing splash page right here at the end. So that's cool. That's like the best part about this whole book. Actively my least favorite book on my pull list, with zero, easily. There's no doubt in my mind that this is 100% the anchor at the bottom of my whole pull list. Maybe that's why I'm keeping it. Like, if I got rid of this book, then I would have to, like, think about what my next least favorite comic I'm currently subscribed to is. I shouldn't be subscribed to a book I just don't like, but maybe that's why this book hasn't been canceled yet, is maybe everybody else who's also ordering it is just sticking with it because they know it's the fact that they canceled, like, Wonder Girl and kept this book going is tragic. Wonder Girl kind of lost its way partway through, but it was only out for 7 issues, and they pulled the rug out from under it, like, way too quick. It's just frustrating. You guys are talking. Paying that book is like using Dasani water in a toilet bowl. Are you saying it's like drinking toilet water or peeing into bottled water? Either way, I think I know what you're saying. I'm a Batman fan and I dropped it a long time ago. Yeah, it's a really bad book. It's a really bad book, and I'm almost ashamed that I'm reading it, but not really. Batman at war with good storytelling. What's it like to be rich enough to keep getting books you hate? That's true. Yeah, I'm getting the more expensive version too. This is a $5 variant instead of the normal $4 book. Uh, Thankfully, I work at a shop and get a discount, but I could get any other book and not get this one. That's also an option. Don't judge. Yeah, you can judge me. I'll give you permission to judge me for that one. At least I don't like it, right? If I was trying to defend the fact that I love this, you guys don't get it. This book's really good. You just don't know it like I do. It can change. It's just a horrible dysfunctional relationship. That's great. Next up, this is Superman Son of Kal-El number 10. I have not read this one yet either. Um who's this? DeMeo? Yeah, Simone DeMeo does this B cover. Kind of cool. I don't have a lot of familiarity with Simone DeMeo. Um I like the kind of like dynamic motion that's happening on this cover. Um I do really enjoy Superman, Son of Kal-El. It just got done with the 2-part like Nightwing crossover, and I did really enjoy how last issue of this book had Bruno Redondo on the art on the inside. It felt like a little extra dose of Nightwing, which I am in love with. Um, it appears that Bruno is not writing the or drawing the inside of this book. A little bit of a bummer, but I can't blame him. He's got a lot of other stuff to do. But yeah, Superman Son of Kal-El number 10. I wish I could tell you what happened in it, but even if I had that book, I probably wouldn't remember it anyway. If it's ever on a top 10 list, you might be the only one who has it. Oh, you mean like Comic Tom, like a spec? Ugh, that's true. The low print count. It's gonna be valuable someday, man. I'll just keep on to it. Keep on getting it. No one's ever died at the bottom of that rabbit hole before. Eternals. All right. See, this is a good example of a book that changed my mind. Several issues in this. Early on, this book was very far down on my list, almost at the bottom, maybe competing with Future State Gotham for least favorite book on my pull list. However, the second story arc of Eternals has been really cool, where Thanos has somehow been elected leader of the Eternals and is up to his normal shenanigans, if you can call them that. It's a very, very sanitizing, whitewashing way to put genocide shenanigans, but Eternals is actually it's really growing on me, and in retrospect, I think it was just taking its time to a uh, build a foundation to go off of, kind of like crossover in that same sense. Like the first story arc, at least in crossover, I had fun. The beginning of Eternals did not work for me. I did not enjoy myself. It was a slog at times in the first few. I want to say like 6, 7, 8 issues in. Like I was still struggling with Eternals, but the last few issues, this is number 11. It surprised me how much I'm enjoying it. Maybe it's because I finally watched the movie and I have a little bit more understanding of like who's who and what's what and the whole nature of the Eternals and all that. But this run is not really tied into the movie that well, which I think is a mistake on their part. However, the movie was not that great either. I don't know. It's a complicated thing. If you dropped Eternals, I might suggest giving it another try, although I can't guarantee you will like it. It's a lot. It's a lot. It feels like Kieran Gillen is trying very hard to do what Jonathan Hickman did to X-Men during the House of X, Powers of 10 era, but it's not as flawless victory like that one was. But I'm still enjoying it in spite of myself. So that's Eternals. We'll see. Maybe this issue sucks. Who knows? Wouldn't be the first time. Here's Fantastic Four, number 42. I have not read this in so long, but I do really like this cover. I wish I knew who did it offhand. I don't know that signature, but it's cool. Like, the more I look at this cover, I like it. I like the texture. I like the lighting. I like the coloring. It's just cool. It appears Reed Richards is getting beaten up by the Thing. Based on those hands, at least, that's the only clear part. That's the Thing. Yeah, I kind of want to know what's going on here. So maybe I will binge read 42 issues of Fantastic Four this week. Not going to happen. Not this week anyway, because I still have I have to read a whole bunch of this stack still. And I still have a stack on the other side of this table from the last 2 weeks or so of stuff that kind of trickled through and I wasn't too excited to get to. And I'm slacking. I'm slipping, you guys. There's still quite a bit of books left. 10 or so. First one of those being Noctera number 9. This one would be near the bottom of my pull list. I'm sorry to say it. That would be the pizza. I don't love Noctera. I kind of feel alone. Not necessarily alone, but I'm in the minority on not liking this book. It's just kind of, and I'm not one to critique a writer, certainly not a writer like Scott Snyder, who has proven himself. He's a very solid writer. That might be why I specifically have trouble with this book, because I know he can do better, but at the same time, this book also makes me question how good his other stuff actually is. And maybe I was just too much of a rookie of a comic reader to really be able to critique, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but to be able to like fully comprehend how much it wasn't working before. Now I'm just rambling. I don't enjoy Noctera. I think it's a cool premise. I like the setting. I like the monsters that show up in here. I like the concept of the world just being blacked out and needing to stay lit up in order to keep yourself safe. I think that's a cool, scary premise. But something about the execution here, the actual writing, the narration, the dialogue, it all feels very on the nose, and it makes me roll my eyes multiple times while reading every single one of these issues. Like, it makes me want to say, like, I think I could do it better, but I probably can't. But it makes me feel like, you son of a bitch, Scott Snyder. Don't rely so much on narration. Don't rely so much on like hokey, just clunky dialogue. It makes me roll my eyes. Is probably the best way to describe Noctera. Like, I don't love it, and another part of it is I feel like a lot of people do, and I don't know if that makes me feel like holier than thou in a sense, or if I just am frustrated with myself that I don't get what other people get. But for one reason or the other, Noctera just does not do it for me. But I'm much more willing to stick with a book like this because it's a really cool idea, and I almost wish somebody else would take over the writing. Like, if he could just hand off his own creator-owned book over to somebody else to write better. Actually, I will use that as a transition to talk about Undiscovered Country. I grabbed volume 1 of Undiscovered Country, written by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule. And I think if you pair Scott Snyder up with somebody else, then maybe that other person can like reel it in, Scott. Like, calm down. Like, that's a cool idea, but I'll handle the dialogue. Or I don't know exactly how they split up the work on Undiscovered Country, but I am enjoying Undiscovered Country quite a bit more than Noctera. I don't enjoy this book enough to probably get the further volumes. I do have all the single issues of Undiscovered Country, but at least volume 1 I wanted to be able to have and maybe let somebody borrow at some point. I'm almost certain that this book will eventually end up in a deluxe hardcover. A little disappointing. I would rather see several other Image books get the deluxe hardcover treatment, but this feels like a shoe-in for something like that. And I don't know. We'll see if I end up getting a hardcover, depending on how cool the hardcover looks. I might actually have to do that. We will see. But yeah, as far as the two things that Scott Snyder has, or two of the things that Scott Snyder has right now, I definitely prefer Undiscovered Country to Nocterra. That's that. What's this one? Batman 89, number 5. Batman 89 and number 5. Enunciate. I'm gonna be honest, I completely forgot this book was a thing. It's been several months since number 4 came out, and I had completely forgotten all about it. And there's still another one to go. There's still an issue 6 to come after this. So hopefully there's not as long of a break in between 5 and 6 as there was between 4 and 5. But yeah, it's been so delayed, says Sal. That is correct. I forgot all about it. I have number 4 over there in my box of books to reread. I reread the last issue before reading the current issue of every series that I have. I might need to go back and dig up a couple of the older. I might just need to grab the whole run and read all at once, because I don't remember what the hell's going on in this book, which is a shame, because I do remember that I was liking it. I do remember the way they handled Two-Face in here was one of my favorite Two-Face stories, and it makes me wish that we had gotten this version of Two-Face in a movie, because I still don't think we have gotten a good enough movie portrayal of Two-Face on screen. I don't think, obviously, the Tommy Lee Jones version is not my favorite. It was my favorite when I was 8 years old when that movie came out. I actually got a Two-Face costume for Halloween that year that had a like almost like a Michael Myers kind of like mask that you pull over your face, like a really tight kind of mask, a Two-Face mask. But even back then, my gigantic like orangutan gorilla head was too big for the mask, so that was disappointing. I think I just walked around with the weird purple tuxedo thing, or looked like Prince or something. I don't know what the hell that was, but I don't think Batman Forever did a good enough job with Two-Face, and I don't think The Dark Knight did a very good job with Two-Face either. And I would like to see him get a real shot at a Batman movie portrayal. But until then, the Two-Face that I remember from this book, I really liked. And hello to Brandon. Thanks for hanging out. There's 11 people in here. Holy smokes. Thank you guys for hanging out. I would say we're almost done, but we're not almost done. There's still several books. This is Ghost Rider number 2. Another one I haven't read yet, but I did really love Ghost Rider 1. It is sitting right there because I need to read that before I read this. I was blown away by how much I loved the first issue of Ghost Rider, and my fingers are crossed that this holds up. I know this is several weeks old, but like I said earlier in this video, our shop has been waiting for a couple of weeks of old Marvel books to come in. So I'm just now getting my hands on this. I might even wait until the third one comes out to sit down and read this, because I'll have to read this again before number 3, and that's very soon, I think. I don't know if I can wait. I loved Ghost Rider so much last month that I can't wait. That's probably going to be first on my stack when I'm done with this video. Never. It's almost been an hour. That's not too bad, considering all of the stuff we have done so far in this video. I have one hardcover. I'm just going to do that before I forget, because I'll forget. I got... Take that off. That's the signed book plate. I got The Ghost in You. This is the 4th book in the Reckless series from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Probably my favorite creative team in all of comic books. I read the first one. I have number 2 and number 3 here. My mom is actually borrowing Reckless Volume 1, but she is not going to read it. I tried to gently encourage her to read a comic book, and I thought Reckless might be her speed. We'll never find out, because she's never going to read it. She also has Department of Truth Volume 1. I might have made a miscalculation there. Either way, my mom's not going to read a comic book ever in her life. So I just need to go get those back. I've only read Reckless Volume 1. I want to read that one again before I go read 2, 3, and now 4. They're starting to catch up. They're releasing a little faster than I would have imagined. So that's cool. I just wish I could reread number 1 so I could go through and blast out some Brubaker Reckless stuff, because I love Ed Brubaker. Okay. On to the last stretch of my single issues from this week, and maybe from older weeks. This is Naomi Season 2, number 2. I have not read this one yet. Can't say anything about it. I don't remember what issue 1 was like. I do remember not liking it as much as the original run of Naomi, which is right here. The hardcover. Naomi is awesome, at least the first volume. I'll have to wait and see how the second season plays out. But I don't know. I feel like she's been a little too prevalent. Seeing her in Justice League was just kind of weird and felt out of place. And I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But if nothing else, I'll still have volume 1 of Naomi, which I think stands very well on its own as a cool book. The Rush. I'm very excited to read this. When I get my stack of comics, I tend to try and read the books I like less first. I want to save my favorites for, I don't want to read my absolute favorites right away, because then I won't have anything cool to look forward to. And The Rush is certainly one of my favorite books out right now from Vault Comics. I'm very excited to see what happens here in number 5. I get the sense that they're going to end this series soon. I don't know if it's a 5-issue miniseries or what, but I love this book, and I don't want it to end. I think it's very cool. It's very unique. It's like the HBO show Deadwood, if it was a horror monster story instead. It's just really cool. It's very much my jam. And there's actually another Vault book right behind it. I could tell what it is because, oh goodness, almost put my eye out with this book. That would not have been worth it for the last book you'll ever read, because you put your eye out. This is issue number 7. I have been getting the naughty covers for this series so far. This one was fine. If I'm rating pornography, this one was all right. This was okay. There's only 1 issue left in this series, which I'm okay with. I have not loved this comic. It had a cool premise. Basically, this woman named Olivia, I think, writes a book, and anybody who reads it ends up kind of turning into a raving lunatic who just wants to. They all want to like tear each other to pieces and or have sex. It's very strange. But it feels the whole time like they never got to the point. Like Cullen Bunn wrote this book, and it's got art by Layla Lays on the inside, which I really like. I do like the art in here. I think the colors especially are popping on the last book you'll ever read, but the story just kind of seems to go in circles, and now it's just going to end. So I'm a little disappointed on that, but at least I will have 1 less book on my pull list. But I'm starting new ones all the time, including this one. Oh, okay. That actually worked. This is a new one. This is a number 1, The Sandman Universe Nightmare Country number 1. This is a new book from James Tynion, his only licensed book right now from DC Comics. My brain just went fuzzy because I saw Sandman Nightmare Country, and I remembered that his next gold foil variant for the Onion Club is going to be a very cool Corinthian cover. I'll show it again. Just because I'm so excited that I got it. This is the first set of the gold foil Virgin variants from the Onion Club, the top tier membership level for James Tynion's Substack. Very much worth it. I'm very happy with this book. I unboxed it yesterday on Comic Tom's live show when I was on there with him. Him and I opened them together, although he opened his early like a cheater. I waited like a man of honor. I waited until we promised we would open them together on the live show. I held up my end. He's a dirty, rotten, cheating scoundrel, so let the record show that. But the next one of these is going to be for Sandman. I'm stoked. I've seen the image, and if I could figure out how to share screen on here, I would do that. But it's cool. It's going to be very cool, and I'm looking forward to that. The actual story in here was pretty cool. I want to show off the art, especially because the art in here is done by an artist named Lissandro Esterin. The only reason I know that is because they illustrated a book I loved from 2019 called Strange Skies Over East Berlin from Boom Studios did that book. Good night, Tessa. The art in here is just really cool and spooky. I'll make sure there's no nudity. I don't think there's nudity on this page, but just the overall art style is it lends itself very well to the creepy aesthetic of this comic. I am not as familiar with Sandman as I should be. I've read a couple of the trades. I've read enough to know that I like it, and I kind of want to get the absolutes and make sure I read it in the best possible format, kind of like I'm doing with Absolute Swamp Thing right here, directly behind me. Something I know is going to be good and that I can buy without like worrying that I'm going to waste money on a book that sucks. Sandman obviously doesn't suck, but I like it, and I want to read Absolute Sandman, although there's a whole bunch of those. Either way, this holds up pretty well on its own, even if you are like me and you have not read any or all of Sandman. I've read a couple trades, but not nearly enough. I don't think I've even gotten halfway through Sandman, but it's a cool book. I was a little nervous, but also it's James Tynion. He's my favorite writer, so can't be that nervous. All right, I think there's only 3 books left. This has been way too long. What's this one? Green Lantern number 12. Okay. What are my thoughts on this? Green Lantern's my favorite. Like, I got him like custom painted on my water bottle. I got a Green Lantern tattoo. You can't see it, but on top of this shelf behind me is all of my Green Lantern like figures. Green Lantern's my favorite, but this run has been shaky at best, and I think this is the end already. I don't know if they're relaunching or what, but this feels very final. And at the same time, I can't remember what happened. That's partly because it's only because the events in here have been so fluffy and like inconsequential, but also at the same time like universe ending catastrophe. But like that's happening so often in Green Lantern in the past that like it's boring. It shouldn't be boring. It should be scary and like, oh, it's the end of the world. There's a giant problem. There's a creepy cosmic being who wants to end all life as we know it. That should be a big deal, but the fact that that happens so frequently throughout the Green Lantern books, it just loses its punch, and it's not what I want from a Green Lantern story. And I'm glad that I got my Jeff Johns Green Lantern omnibus in the mail, because that's my favorite Green Lantern. It's just such a rich universe, and this story had a very narrow focus on a small group of these characters, and it was cool to spend more time with those specific Green Lanterns. But I think this series suffered from a lack of focus on the entire rest of the Green Lantern Corps, as well as, you know, Sinestro, his whole Sinestro Corps, to say nothing of all the other colors, and, you know, the whole Green Lantern universe. There's a lot there, and this book didn't really scratch beneath the surface very much. So if this is the end of this creative team or this run, I'm just very hopeful that whatever comes next is a little more consequential. This just didn't land with me at all. A Town Called Terror. Okay, I'm going to open this up because this is another one that I read. It's a very quick read. I don't remember what happens in here. That's kind of the common refrain for all this stuff. But the thing I took away most was how much I loved the artwork in here. It's done by Simon Kudransky, and it's very dark and moody and evocative. And oh man, the glare is not helping here. It's just really spooky, and he nails the tone. This book is all feelings and vibes and energy, I guess. But like I was saying, it reads really quick. You look at this whole 2-page spread, and there are 2 dialogue bubbles on the whole thing. But it's beautiful to look at. And this is one of those situations where I know once the second one comes out and I can read them both together, it will work a lot better, because the limited writing in this book makes it read a little too quick. Thankfully, the art is so good that I slow down a lot to make sure I'm absorbing as much as I can of the artwork, but I am ready for issue 2 already because I want a double dose. I think there should be some kind of law passed maybe in Congress that says like all issue 1s need to be like 2 issues in one under penalty of law or something, because I want more. The last book on this stack, Daisy number 5. Okay, I gotta show this off too because the artwork in here is really cool, and this is one of those books that is done entirely by one person, Colin Lorimer. I guess not entirely by one person. He does the story and art, it says, with colors by Joanna Lafuente and lettering by Jim Campbell. The art in here is really cool. So Colin gets props for the artwork. The story was a little disappointing. It got a little too religious for me. This I don't even know how to describe it, but I don't know if I need to with how cool the art is in here. There were some pretty cool, like, gory moments in the earlier issues of this book, but the start of this story made it seem like it was going to go in a much more the impression I got was that we were going to get like a Children of the Corn kind of creepy cult horror story and biblical horror, as Sal says in the comments here. Yeah, that's very much what this became. And by the end of it, it got way too religious and biblical for my taste. And it started to veer off into like this supernatural direction that I really don't like. I've said it in a lot of videos before, but like one of the genres I just steer clear of is anything really dealing with like mythology or gods. And this book kind of turned in that direction. Thankfully, I really liked the art in here. I think there was a lot of really cool stuff to look at, and that made me appreciate this comic, even though the story kind of lost me. Yeah, like this one full page of just, let me just drop the book there. This one full page of Daisy herself here is just subtle, but it's really well drawn, and it jumped out at me. It's a cool book. Like, it's just not for me, and it put Colin Lorimer on my mind, and I'm going to make sure and see whatever he does next. Hopefully it's not as religious as this one, because it got kind of dry here by the end, and that's not fun, especially when your book looks this pretty. That was it. That was everything. Quick recap. Just kidding. I had all of these single issues. This giant stack that we just went through. That was a lot. Probably my biggest single week I think I've ever had. But to be fair, a lot of this stuff was delayed from the past couple of weeks. So in reality, the last couple of weeks should have been a little bigger. Those were all my singles. I also had Suicide Squad Blaze number 2. That doesn't really fit in that pile, but there you go. We got Undiscovered Country Volume 1. The Ghost in You, the Reckless book, with the book plate on here that I gotta put on the inside once I actually open it. Silver Coin Volume 1, trade paperback. I got a lot of trades today. I'm excited to update my shelf. That I just took off the shelf earlier to show off because it is done by this team, which is a new book I got today. Time Before Time, Volume 2. They also wrote Write It in Blood. Really cool standalone original graphic novel from Image. And at the very beginning of this video, oh god, I also unboxed these beefy boys. Jeff Johns Green Lantern Omnibus. Wow, that's a lot. This is Volume 1. And oh god, it's so heavy. And this is Volume 3. I've had number 2 on my shelf here this whole time. Thankfully, you can't tell what it is. It looks like I just had number 1, but having number 2 on the shelf by itself really bugged me. So I had to make sure and lock down 1 and 3 before they go out of print or something, and I'm totally screwed. But I'm going to test the tensile strength of my shelf and put like 3 of the absolute heaviest books I have are right next to each other on one little shelf right there. So between those gigantic omnis, they look insane when you stack them this way. Between these two and these trades and a hardcover, I'm looking forward to sprucing up the shelf behind me a little bit. Oh yeah, and make sure and check out the start of the video to see the pizza story I told earlier when they took my name down as Fire Guy from it's a whole thing. It's a story. Go watch this video from the start if you missed that part, because that was embarrassing. That's it from me, guys. I gotta go back to Mill Geek Comics in 12 hours for my next shift. So I'm going to get off here and read some stuff, or just sleep for 12 hours. That kind of sounds nice. But yeah, hope you guys have a good Wednesday night. I hope you get some cool books. Don't forget to hit the like button and do the YouTube stuff. And I will see you on Tuesday. If you guys want, if you want to see me on Tuesday, I will be on Comic Tom's show, like always, sometime in the afternoon. We do our live shows. If you don't want to watch that guy, which I don't blame you, I will be back here Wednesday, as always, with my next week's books. See you guys. Have a good night.